Hey fellow tankers, it's Mobius Y here once again with another special edition of Tank Talk, and today we are taking a look at another premium tank, the Tier 8 Russian heavy tank, the IS-6, doing a review on this beast of a premium tank. Now this is pretty much the premium tank that when people make comments complaining about Wallet Warrior tanks, they're probably complaining about the IS-6 because it seems so good. It has its drawbacks just like any other tank in the game, and especially like premium tanks. This tank is a ton of fun to play though. I picked it up when it was on discount for a whopping 10,000 gold. So still pretty expensive even on the discount there, but I don't regret it one bit. Really fun tank to play. Great crew trainer. You can see I'm working on its 4th skill, and I don't even have 150 games in this thing. It's that good of a crew trainer. If you can have decent or consistently good games, great for training your newer crews to go into your Russian tanks. I like playing this tank a lot, but personally I would definitely recommend you use this for premium tank platoons where people are using premium tanks with preferential matchmaking. It's a lot more fun to play in a group rather than by yourself, as well as you are essentially the shield of your platoon, as you can utilize this tank's really troll and decent armor to block shots for your buddies. So, starting off with this little review of the IS-6, we're going to take a look at the hard stats right now. I'm going to start with the hard stats for a detailed look on this beast of a machine. So let's open up the package here. So, looking at the hard stats on the IS-6 in-game, the engine has 700 horsepower. Not a great power to weight ratio. We'll get into that a little bit later. Now the gun on the IS-6, at first glance, it looks pretty good, especially if you don't have an IS-6, because it seems to hit pretty hard. 5.13 rounds per minute, not too bad, a little over 10 seconds of a reload time without any equipment to boost the reload speed. But when you look at the penetration values, they're not really that impressive. Base AP ammo has a penetration of 175. That is quite poor for Tier 8, to be totally honest. The T-44's two top guns have the same amount of penetration. The Super Pershing has worse penetration at 170, but it gets ridiculously good APCR with 258 penetration, unlike the IS-6, which only gets 217 with APCR premium rounds. Both those types of rounds do 390 average alpha damage, so pretty much on par with Tier 10 medium tanks, which is not bad for a 122mm gun at Tier 8. So it hits pretty hard when you aim for the weak spots. You really got to know where to shoot with the IS-6 due to the low penetration, as you can see. Now the high explosive rounds, because it is a big slug, 530 average alpha damage with the high explosive, and only 61 penetration because it is high explosive. They have really low pen, but don't be afraid to stock up on a little bit of extra high explosive rounds than you normally would, especially for Tier 8. You'll be coming across lots of Borsigs, and sometimes in Tier 9s you'll come across Waffenträger off Panzerfeuers quite often, and a high explosive shell from this thing will just wreck them. That is, provided you can hit them. Looking at the hard stats for the gun handling, the aiming time is 3.4. That is really bad. And the accuracy is 0.46, also really bad. So essentially, this thing is kind of slow. It's got pretty good armor, a gun that's not that punchy but hits hard and has horrible handling. You don't want to be anywhere but on the front line with this tank. Get in close, mitigate that really crappy gun handling and crappy penetration. Get in close, get in your opponent's faces as best as you can, and use your armor to deflect shots for your team. Also looking at other mobility from the IS-6, the hull traverse 26 degrees per second, not too bad for a heavy tank. And the turret itself, it looks fairly strong. The plating is 150 millimeters thick on both the front and the sides, and only 100 millimeters in the rear. We'll go into that more detailed when we look at the 3D armor model. The turret also traverses kind of slow, 24 degrees per second. And the view range is a measly 350 meters. Really crappy view range, so to make up for that, again, get in close and just get in your opponent's faces, put shots into them. You don't want them outspotting you in this thing. That being said, this thing can pick up speed if it's going in a straight line. So that's a quick look at the hard stats there. let's go in and take a look at the equipment and supplies. For supplies here, I myself carry 24 AP rounds, 3 APCR because they're not that great and expensive, and only 3 high explosive. For consumables, I would definitely recommend a large repair kit on this thing. You're going to get tracked a lot because a lot of people just don't seem to know where to shoot this, so you want them repairing more quickly. You definitely need a small first aid kit at the least, maybe a large, and an automatic fire extinguisher to help reduce the chance of fire in this tank, as it is a Russian tank and shot in the butt is bad, and as well as put out any fires instantaneously. For equipment, I wanted to maximize my reload speed. I went large caliber tank gun rammer, vents, and a spall liner to help deal with anybody that's dumb enough to ram me. These are completely interchangeable, I'll tell you that right now. You can set these up with whatever you want, especially the vents and the spall liner here. You can essentially pick whatever you want for those two. That's just what I have set up, and it works great for me because it reduces the reload as much as I want it to. So, IS-6, like I said, I got it on discount for 10,000 gold, and if I remember correctly, it's 12,500 without a discount. So it's not a cheap tank, folks. Well, maybe not 12,500, maybe about 12,000. So it is not a cheap tank. It's essentially a $50 tank. If you're willing to sink that much money into it, go for it. It is a great buy. I have a lot of fun with it. Comparing it to some other premium tanks, the Jagd Tiger 88 is 10,000 gold, so it's cheaper. I paid for the price of Jagd Tiger for the IS-6. The Lurva is 12,500. So the IS-6 is a little bit cheaper than the Lurva by about 500 gold. Now, for the British tanks, the AT-15A is only a Tier 7, but it's 6,500, so about half the price of an IS-6 for a Tier 7. FCM 50 ton, 11,800 gold, so about the same price as an IS-6. I believe I said IS-7 just a second ago. Sorry, guys. For Chinese premium tanks, they've got the heavy tank, the 112, for 12,250, and the medium tank, T-34-3, for 11,000 gold. So the 112, just a little bit more expensive than the IS-6 in terms of gold. The T-34-3, just a tiny bit cheaper. Japanese tanks, only the Chinu Kai for about 5,000 gold or something, 4,000 gold. I can't remember. I bought it so long ago. The Super Pershing for American tanks, 7,200 gold, much cheaper. If you like that kind of a tank, I've already done a review on it. T-34, 12,000 gold, only about 100 more gold than the IS-6, as the IS-6 costs 11,900. So if you don't want to spend that much on a Russian premium, you can also get an SU-122-44 for 6,750 gold, about half the price of an IS-6, a little more, so it's more like a $20, $25 tank, not a friggin' $50 tank like the IS-6. But the IS-6, if you're into these kind of tanks, you can handle crappy gun handling and decent armor, mediocre mobility. This is a really good buy. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D armor model right quick here. Okay, using tanks.gg to take a look at the armor model. So at first glance here, you can see the red armor plates, 150 millimeters in the turret, 120 is the darker orange, and the lighter orange is only 100 millimeters. So at first glance, you can see that the lower plate actually has a thicker piece of armor on the underside than the top plate. It's 120 millimeters, angled at about 50 degrees, for an effective armor about 190, 200. So it's a little tougher to hit than the upper plate here, which is only effective at about 180, 190, as it is a thinner plate and angled about the same. So a lot of people will bounce off your lower plate, especially lower tier tanks, but there is a weak spot right here in this hatch where your driver sits, which is only rated for about 160. So that's why you need a med kit to heal your driver, because he will die a lot, especially with not so punchy guns. Now looking at the turret, on the sides of the turret, it looks really thick. It looks like a good turret, but look at these weak spots on the turret here, right in the front next to the gun, 164 millimeters, and right on the other side as well, 150 millimeters, jumping up to 163. Big weak spots at the turret here. You'll want to use your punchier guns for this one, though, as even in something like an IS-6's gun might struggle to pen these. Usually when I am in an IS-6, and I'm aiming at an IS-6, I hit this big open weak spot here, 50 millimeters. It's only 30 millimeters thick at a sharp slope, but it's so thin. And these two hatches on the top of the turret, 153 millimeters. Really, really weak up here in the top. On the sides of the hatches, you're getting into crazy values, such as 260, 270, 300 even on the sides of the hatches, but right in the middle, 154, and combined with that whole turret roof at 50 millimeters. That is a huge weak spot on the top of the turret. It is easy to pen when you are a little bit above an IS-6 to just shoot down into the top of their turret for easy penetrations. Now, frontally, the side plates are about the same thickness as the upper front plate. These angled plates right above the track, so they're pretty thick when facing you. But if an IS-6 is side scraping at you, kind of like so at about a 20-degree angle, these plates get much flatter, so they're easier to pen, but you still need a pretty decent punchy gun to punch through them. The upper front plate becomes a little bit harder to pen. The driver's hatch is a little bit harder to pen, but still possible. And the lower plate is much tougher to pen when an IS-6 is side scraping. The sides don't even bother. Ridiculous values there, 350. So the sides of an IS-6, the turret armor, 150 millimeters, but it's really flat, so it's only about 160, 170. Not really getting into crazy values. The side of the hull, it's angled and sloped 100 millimeters, but you're only getting about 130, 140 values. The side skirts, lots of spaced armor there, 130, 160 in some parts, right by the tracks. You see 150 right there. And in the tracks themselves, again, in 125, 130. Back of the IS-6, the rear of the turret, like I said, 100 millimeters, really flat. Even these back plates, while angled, they're only 100, and the very back of the IS-6 is 80 millimeters. You can still get some troll bounces off these back plates, especially on the side. You can see here we're getting like 200 plus values on the side of the IS-6 from the rear. So even this back angled plate, you can get a troll bounce because it's just angled so sharply. But for the most part, it's really weak. And the IS-6 is really vulnerable to artillery. As you can see in the top, 30 millimeters on the turret, 20 in the rear of the hull. So very vulnerable to artillery. So when you're shooting at when you're an IS-6 shooting at an IS-6, it's a lot of red stuff here that you can see. Let's just pick the Super Pershing to compare. We'll use the Super Pershing as lower tier tanks shooting at it. You see lots of dark orange and red. Pretty tough to pen. You have to aim for that driver's hatch or the top of the turret for pretty much guaranteed pens. And when the IS-6 is side scraping, much harder to pen. Sides, not so much, a little bit easier. But let's change this to tier 8 heavy tanks such as the IS-3, which has a pretty punchy gun. Where's the IS-3? There we go. Now, this is a totally different story. IS-3 gets a really good gun. You see in all sorts of green on the front of the hull, especially this driver's hatch, 162. That's easy for an IS-3 to punch through. Side scraping IS-6, an IS-3 will hit you hard. So even a Tiger II, they'll just punch right through that. They got nice, accurate, hard-hitting guns. Medium tanks like an STA-1 also with punchy guns. Japanese tanks have punchy guns. Again, all green. Not a problem for an STA-1 to pen an IS-6 from the front even. Even on these side plates when you're side scraping, really easy for medium tanks such as that to just fill you full of holes. And let's compare the soft stats with the IS-3. The dispersion values of the IS-6 are worse than the IS-3 while you're moving your turret or traversing your hull, even after firing. And the terrain resistances, again, they're worse than the IS-3. So IS-3, a little bit more mobile. IS-3's turret and tank also traverses more quickly than an IS-6, as you can see there. So gun depression on the IS-6, most of the way around it, straightforward, it's 6 degrees, and it's like that most of the way around your tank, right up until about 145 degrees behind you on both sides. And then once you start aiming at the back plates and whatnot, you only get a whopping 4 degrees of gun depression. So 6 degrees, pretty average gun depression in the front and on the sides. IS-6 does get more DPM than the IS-3 due to its slightly faster reload. And you can really boost up that DPM by about 350, 400 points almost with rammer, vents, brothers in arms like I have set up. So that jumps it up from a little over 2,000 to 24, 22 DPM on the IS-6. Not bad at all. So that's a look at the IS-6's 3D model. Let's go ahead and take a look at where the modules and crew sit in the tank. In the front of the IS-6 here, you can see, like I said, that little weak spot right in the middle of the hull is the driver's hatch. He gets killed a lot. Bring a med kit. You definitely want to be healing him as soon as possible. This thing might not be mobile, but it does get an okay top speed at about 36 kilometers an hour when you're going on flat ground. So you want your driver in the game. And looking at the front from the top a little bit more, you can start to see in the sides of the turret there, the commander's hatch is the one on the right side if you're facing the IS-6. And the gunner sits in front of him in the front of the turret. They can get knocked out, especially if somebody gets side shots on you. And you start to see near the back of the tank and the side plates, you can get your engine damaged, like you could see in the side view here. Commander on the side of the turret, right in the middle. Gunner in the front. And the ammo rack in the back of the turret can be hit from the sides as well. And that engine block you can see right above the side skirts in the very back of the IS-6, and it looks like that rear plate, that sloped rear plate, is also a weak point that could be nailed. You can get some troll bounces there, but it's hit or miss sometimes. Rear of the IS-6, all over the back, engine, deck, weak points everywhere. Very back of the turret, it's all ammo rack. If you get a back turret shot on an IS-6, definitely shoot it. You got a good chance of ammo racking if you shoot him there. And on the right side of the IS-6 a little bit here, you can see the fuel tanks right in front of the engine. That's why you want an automatic fire extinguisher, because if you get flanked by tanks, which will happen, they can definitely hit your engine, your fuel tank, set you on fire. You want your automatic fire extinguisher to reduce the chances of fire a little bit, as well as put it out right away. And you can see the other hatch on the top of the turret is where the loader sits. So like I said, if you're shooting at the top area of the IS-6, the top of the turret and those hatches combined, you'll be knocking out people's loaders and commanders frequently while doing damage to them. So make sure you bring a med kit to heal people as needed, as those guys die quickly, as well as your driver. So that's where the modules sit on the IS-6. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump into some gameplay here. While this IS-6 is riddled with weak spots, it is essentially just a bully tank. Lower tiered vehicles have a bitch of a time penning this thing, believe me. You get all sorts of crazy steel walls. So I just bounced one there. Here's how I kill an IS-6. It's really simple. Turret roof, and just for good measure, one more in the turret roof. And now that IS-6 is down to one shot, I'm just going to kill him by shooting him in the turret roof. It's really that easy, guys. And I was actually below him, so the vulnerable points were technically smaller since I was aiming upwards at his turret. It's that simple to kill an IS-6, and it's really funny. But even with all these weak points on the IS-6, the armor's decent enough where you can have good games and just have some really fun times. Especially, like I said, if you platoon with your Tier 8 preferential premiums with some buddies. You can have just some crazy moments, like so, trying to drop on top of a Jag Tiger, as well as just land some really, really ridiculous shots, even with the really crappy gun handling on this tank. Really bad dispersion values on the move, like so. On the move, whack at a Tiger P from over 300 meters. And even on a defeat, you can still earn 80,000 silver if you have a decent game, doing 2,400 damage. 90,000 silver, that's not a bad haul. A loss on a kind of crappy game with only 2 penning shots, still about 40,000 silver. But a win with a decent amount of damage done, only about 1,600 damage, still 95,000 silver. Not bad at all. This thing will make you bank, which is the large #1 reason why people get premium tanks. And in short, I do not regret buying this tank one bit. It is so fun, and I really am glad that I bought it. I needed a Russian crew trainer that I had fun playing. So that's a very in-depth look at the IS-6 in terms of stats. Jumping into some gameplay, the first of 6. We're on Steeps here. It's an encounter battle. I'm platooned with Fiddler's Green, Lele, and Casual Pie. We're all playing preferential Tier 8 premium heavy tanks. Fiddler and Lele both in FCM 50 tons, and Casual Pie in the Mutant 6. So because we are essentially top tier heavy tanks, not quite, there are a few 9s in this game, but not very many, we figured, okay, it's our job to get to the hill here on the far side of the map and just hold our own as best as we can. Support our team from within that hill there. So I'm going to get a little push here from my platoon mate in the FCM, Lele, giving me a shove here. So the IS-6, while I said it doesn't look like it is very mobile, in a straight line, it actually can pick up decent speed, over 30 kilometers an hour, pretty easily, over 35 kilometers an hour, quite easily, as you can see here, even though Lele is pushing me for a little bit of a speed boost, getting up to about 38, 39 kilometers. You know, it's not too bad in a straight line, and I totally duffed that auto-lock shot. You'll find that a lot of shots like that, even in an IS-6, for some reason you just auto-lock at something from really far away, and you just hit them when they're sitting still. It's how RNG works. Sometimes your shots go straight where the little center reticule is. So there's nothing wrong with taking a stupid shot like that. Sometimes it hits, and there's just nothing they can do about it, nothing you can do about it. So why not just take the opportunity to possibly get in a damaging shot for doing absolutely nothing whatsoever. Anyways, so pulling up here on this STA-1, Lele just goes in for the ram. He needs to be taken out quickly, as he is pretty dangerous for a medium tank. I duffed my shot, though, trying to go in to block him from escaping just by bumping him a little bit, blocking him from running away, and Lele's able to take him out. I totally missed my shot and felt pretty bad about that. So we are essentially positioned where we want to be. We're holding off the flag, but we're not giving away how many numbers exactly are here by just jumping on the flag and starting a cap timer. It's encounter, so even if all 4 of us jumped on, it would be about 4 minutes. Trying to aim in at a shot on this KV-5, not really expecting to penetrate, as I don't really have a very good shot here. Aimed for the side of the turret, but it went right into his gun mantlet anyways. Not the not very good pen on this tank will let you down frequently like that. So seeing the Wheezy move in, I just take him out. 72 damage for a kill. Oh, sorry, I lied. Casual Pie stole it. Jeez. I'm just kidding, he didn't steal it. There's no stealing kills in World of Tanks. So just trying to put some pressure on this KV-5 and this IS-3. The KV-5, he can consistently damage me. I'm not too worried about it, though, as I have backup. And he's just got an IS-3 that's kind of segregated and not helping. Casual Pie goes in. KV-5 totally rans him, so I'm going to push forward and try to get some side shots on this KV-5 for some easy damaging shots. My shot was really crappy, though, and only damaged his tracks. So coming around behind the KV-5, just trying to line up a shot in the back of his turret and finish him off there. So that's 1 down. So right now it seems like a fairly even game. We're only down 5-7. This could go either way. And we have 2 friendlies in the cap circle, unfortunately, but one of them is the Alpha Panther. So seeing that the other flank has essentially fallen, I turn back around as they're going to come back through our spawn and get right behind us. So all 4 of us are still alive. We all turn around to meet them head on and just see if we can turn this game around and pull the win out of our buttholes here. Excuse me. So as you can see, the gun... it aims so goddamn slow, and it's pretty freaking inaccurate. And like I said, the penetration, not that great. Even on the APCR, only 217. So if you expect to load up some APCR and just be like, oh, I can just automatically pen stuff now. Don't, because 217 pen, especially against Tier 9s, is really not that great. There's Tier 9 medium tanks that match or exceed your penetration. Trying to take out this AMX... duffed both shots there. Really unfortunate. And looking up, we see Fiddler's Green. He's all out there by himself, and he's going to get taken out. So all of us kind of stack up on the cap, trying to see if we can just get a really, really cheeky cap win here. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen with Fiddler getting taken out really quick. Tiger 2 rolls over. I get one into his lower plate, and Casual Pie is able to track him. Unfortunately, Lele is on the other side of the map, so I see a Wheezy 131 coming around. Put a shot into him for 6 whopping points of damage to take him out of the game. Chinese 110 heavy tank comes over, trying to reset the cap. So I'm trying to keep my turret turning with him to take him out of the game. 373 damage, he's gone. Still got a VK4502 Alpha right up in front of us, as well as an E75 somewhere in the game. So at this point I realize we're not going to win by capping because they just reset it on us too many times. And at the last second, I see the 704 roll out right behind us with an E75. So 704 takes out both our teammate and Casual Pie. My side shot of the 704, really, really crappy shot, just bounces right off. And now I'm just in a world of hurt here. I got a 704 right in front of me. I'm ammo racked. I got a VK4502 Alpha, VK4502 Bravo, and E75 shooting me in the side and the butt. So this is just going to go to hell in a handbasket, and I die. So, like I said, got a couple troll bounces there. Not a lot of damage done, but, barely went positive with silver. Even with 3 tanks knocked out, I didn't even do 900 damage. Really, really crappy game, not just for myself, but kind of for our whole team. The other team just effectively steamrolled the entire other side of the map. And that's how games can go in the IS-6 sometimes, and there's just not really anything you can do about it sometimes. It was largely my own fault with really, really poor positioning. But in a situation like that, it's just going too downhill too quickly, and there's really minimal chance to turn that around for a win. So moving on to the second game here, in another encounter battle, this time on Pacific Island. So regardless of whether or not I'm top tier in the IS-6, I like to get on the front line and just start boxing with people. Essentially just duke it out right away. So I know where the flag is. It's in about H2. So I tell my platoon, I'm going straight there, and I'm going to sit on it. And seeing that we're top tier, I get a little bit excited. Still platooned with Lele, Casual Pie, and Fiddler's Green. Lele in an MC-25, Casual Pie, and Bert the Avenger, and Fid still in his Liberté, FCM 50-ton French premium tank. Excuse me. Now, you can see that the really crappy terrain resistances they can really drag the mobility of the IS-6 down. I barely broke 30 kilometers an hour out of the spawn because of the sand terrain as well as the muddy terrain due to the water being everywhere. I'm barely hitting 34 kilometers an hour, and just turning even just a little bit drops me down even more speed. So in straight lines, this thing goes it can go fairly quick. Just took a random chance shot on that AMX 1375, which totally missed. No surprise there. And right now I'm just moving up into the flag. So if you notice the reload speed on the IS-6, I've got it at 9.66 seconds with vents, gun rammer, and brothers in arms on the cruise skill. With combat rations, you can drop that reload down to about 9.26 seconds if you feel comfortable taking off one of these other pieces of consumables, which I really don't recommend because I've tried it with combat rations for about 10 games, and I would say in about 7 of them I got set on fire, and it just was a bad time. Panzer Syphilis, boom, dead, 164 damage. Didn't even need to load an HE. Didn't want to load an HE, as the reload time would have likely made me lose my chance to hurt him. Cromwell in the flag, being very aggressive, just bounces one right off of me, and I smack him for 402. So you can see here, I'm just bullying lower tier tanks for the time being. I'm not worried about them penning me. They don't really have great pen guns. And they'd even struggle on my sides with the troll armor on the sides here. So I'm just rolling up on this VK3002M, tier 6 medium tank. Trying to get a shot on him, but the rock's still in the way. So I just roll up, auto lock, shoot him right in the front, and he's gone. Now it's the Cromwell's turn to go. He shoots me right in the track. Probably trying to track me so that his teammates can shoot me. And that's when artillery whacks me. So I see the ARL-44, try to take a shot into him. I track him so that my friendly IS can take him out. I was hoping to kill the ARL, but it didn't work out that way. So seeing the Cromwell coming in, I'm trying to just chase him down. IS misses his shot, but I just put one in the side of the turret of the Cromwell, and he's gone. Just bullying the lower tiers with this tank, because they just have no chance in hell of penning me if they don't know where to shoot me. AMX 5100, really dangerous tank for me. Trying to get behind these rocks so that artillery can stop shooting me, and then I can effectively duke it out with this AMX 5100. Artillery takes out the IS behind me, so now the 5100 is shooting me back, and he puts 2 right through my front plates. So I start side scraping to get him to bounce one. And he finishes dumping his magazine, so I put one more shot into him, dropping into one shot with 411 damage. So I know he's reloading. Even with artillery looking at me, I got to push and get him out of the game because he's dangerous. But the M12 hits his mark and takes me out of the game instead. Good shot by the M12. Really, really bad angle for him. And even though my game ended early, still went away with 66,000 silver and just under 1,700 damage. Not a terrible game, but not a very good one either, in my opinion. Could have easily broken 2,000 damage with even just one more shot if it didn't low roll on me. So decent game, made a good amount of silver, bullied some lower tiers like is expected of an IS-6, and made some people mad about Wall Warrior tanks. Alright, so that was game 2. Moving on to the next game, standard battle here on Redshire. Once again, I'll simply be going to where the heavy tanks go to duke it out. Over there in the E0 sector, kind of. And I'm just going to get in people's faces and slug it out with them. I see we are top tier. They do have an IS-3 that could punch many holes through me. The T-32, not so much. Both guns in the T-32 don't even break 200 pen. So I'm not too worried about that. So I'm just heading straight over there. Again, platooned with my buddies. This time with Joe the Frogman, United Combat, and Naughty Coin. I should have noted that there isn't a single game that I've got going on here where I'm not platooned, because like I said, this tank is way more fun when you're platooned, and chances are, if if you have several people on your friends list that play World of Tanks, there's a good chance that at least several of them have one Tier 8 premium tank, and just be hopeful that they have ones with preferential matchmaking, like the FCM 50-ton, the Og Tiger 88, and more IS-6s, the Mutant 6, Super Pershing, tanks like that. And even then, they could still play some Tier 7 premium tanks to grind out some silver with you. Things like the SU-122-44, great Tier 7 premium tank. The E-25 German TD, great Tier 7 premium tank as well. And I can't remember if either of those even get preferential, so they shouldn't really have a problem. Also possibly facing Tier 9s, but definitely facing Tier 8s, as they'll get more XP for damaging higher tier tanks as well. Now, if I'm incorrect about the E-25 and SU-122-44, whether or not they have preferential, sue me, I'm just a dumb white kid, I'm wrong all the time. Anyways, just rolling up on this side of Redshire, expecting to see somebody, but there's nobody here, so me and United Combat and Naughty Coin, we're just going to cruise on through and start pushing on their base. It looks like nobody's here, but they probably have some TDs or whatnot way in the back by their spawns, ready to start sniping at anybody who comes around the corner. As you can see, I can't even detect anything over there because I don't have a very good view range. So I see a shot on the Og Tiger, start aiming in, lose the shot, so it's time to move and get a better shot on somebody else. And just like that, Bert tracks me. So now's a good time to line up a shot on a T-29, and I thread the needle somehow for 354 damage on his ass. Really, really funny shot. Like I said, sometimes RNG will do that with the IS-6, even with this really crappy gun handling. And you just land these ridiculous shots, as you could see with the previous highlight, snapshotting a Tiger P from across Lakeville. Seeing the Og Tiger 88, I don't want to shoot him because he's facing me. Naughty Coin needs help with the IS-3, so I land a shot on him and set him on fire, doing a lot of damage to him, and he just burns to death. So I got a good 600 or 700 damage off of one shot for setting that guy on fire. His loss for not having a fire extinguisher. Seeing the Og Tiger aiming at me, I just pull out of the way. I know he can fill me full of holes with that 8.8 centimeter gun, so I'm just leaving him. I see a Jackson, so I start aiming in. Going to try and pull off a shot here, and then land one right in his backside, dropping him down to one shot. Good high roll, 416 damage. Now I'm following up our VK3002 Delta. I'm here to back him up because he is a Tier 7 medium tank, and I'm a top tier heavy tank, so I want to come up with him and help coordinate with him to take out any enemies that might be facing him. This T-28 Proto, though, seems to be AFK, so I'm just going to ignore him, try to put a shot on this GW Panther and take out artillery. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take him out before he got a shot off on the friendly VK, but the VK finally takes out the T-28 prototype. Seeing the M12, I decide to start aiming for a ridiculous shot and decide against it when he disappears, so going to try a blind fire at the T-71. Kind of looks like I hit him, but not too sure. We'll see when he gets respotted. Got an A-43 coming back to defend the base, coming after my friendly in the VK3002 Delta. So I put one shot into a massive high roll for 451 damage, dropping him down to a one shot for everything. And so I just started ignoring the A-43, thinking the VK will take care of him. 16 points of damage is what I left him on. Pretty good damaging roll on that one. Seeing the ELC rolling in, start lining up for a shot. Decide against it. He's moving too quickly, and I'm blind, so I don't want to bother with that. So I start driving forward. It's time to get into this fight here. They got somebody way back at our base, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm thinking there's somebody on my left because I keep getting detected, as I don't have Sixth Sense yet, but it's likely the Freedom tank. I see the Tog 2. He's going to get killed, so I know I'm not going to get there in time. So I'm just going to drive in, try and kill the artillery, and also take on this Freedom tank. I'm pretty sure that there's that ELC pulled back, so he gets spotted again. I stopped to try and line up a shot, but I decided against it because I actually kind of wanted to kill our friendly VK, who was sitting on the cap. On the move shot against the Freedom, totally misses and hits the house. Not much else I could do in that situation. Freedom puts a hole in my front plate. So I'm just going to get right up in his face and just start bullying him. I'm not sure if he's shooting APCR or if he actually knows where to shoot me. It doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to shoot at his frontal areas, as this gun just does not have good on-the-move handling. So I just pulled up beside him, about to kill him when United Combat does the job for me. So that leaves a T-71 way back at our base, and Joe the Frogman in his Type 64. Not sure if Joe the Frogman's got a handle on it, if the T-71's reloading yet. It looks like he's not, but Joe is able to knock him down to one shot. So me, Naughty Coin, and United Combat, we're turning around to come back and deal with the scout and get revenge for our fellow platoon mate. So again, you can see even just a little bit of terrain will really kill the IS-6's speed going in a straight line because of its not so great power to weight ratio. It's only got 700 horsepower, which is not that. It's got a very poor power to weight ratio. So even hilly terrain will kill your speed when you're going in a straight line. Just under 90,000 silver, a little over 2,000 damage dealt. Not a bad game at all. Definitely could have gone a lot worse if they actually had a fighting force at that corner where the heavy tanks like to brawl it out. On Redshire there, only 240 damage blocked though. That freedom punched a couple holes in me. So moving on to a city map. Now this one's a little bit different because you can, if you're top tier in an IS-6, you can definitely go down the heavy tank alley in the E7 F7 area and slug it out there. But me being me, most of the time I don't really go there. I like to fight it out on the hill. Lots of people seem to enjoy going to the hill. So I'm kind of anticipating that in this game, and it's lots of tier 8s on the other team. So I'm thinking this will be a good fight.
Let's go!
Again, platooned with United Combat, Joe the Frogman, and Naughty Coin. And United Combat changes from his IS-6 to the Freedom Tank. And this is one of the few games where I decided to go down heavy tank alley. We did talk about it for a minute. I was thinking about going up the hill, especially since Naughty Coin's Mutant 6 could be really good hull down. And at the last second, we decided let's go heavy tank alley. United Combat turns down that way, so me and Naughty just follow him down there. Joe's getting some early spots up in the middle there, seeing all their scout tanks rushing. ELC blows past us. United turns to shoot him, and I just ignore it because I want to get into position. So I keep pushing forward to back up Naughty Coin here so that I can start soaking up some shots for Naughty Coin. Now, being in the Tier 8, a very Tier 8 match, I duffed that shot by shooting Naughty Coin right in the ass. Being in a largely Tier 8 match, I know that should be several guns that can just punch me full of holes, even if I'm side-scraping. So, try to get into a position here, avoid getting shot by this Chinese 110 heavy tank, as well as the Freedom Super Pershing right behind him. So I start side-scraping on this corner here, trying to line up some shots. Not sure who to shoot, so I just shoot the lower plate of the 110, and it bounces right off. 175 pen. You'll find 175 pen will do that a lot. Even if you load up APCR, a lot of the time you'll bounce on spots where you would normally think you shouldn't. So I try to land one in the hatch of the 110. Not so great. Again, gun accuracy letting me down. And that 110 just starts ripping a new butthole on the TD behind me. Unfortunately, I'm not able to block his shots. Started aiming for the Super Pershing. His turret's turned, so I put one right in the side of his turret. 422 damage. Not a bad roll at all. So I'm largely being ignored because I'm side-scraping, as I figured that these guys know that they'll have trouble to pen me while I'm side-scraping. Trying to get the top of the turret on the Freedom, and again, totally missed. Kind of rushed the shot a little bit as I thought he was going to turn around the corner, but he didn't. So Naughty Coin's face-hugging the 110, so I'm just going to drive right past him. Once I kick up to a decent speed, I'm just going to put a shot right in his side without even really aiming for about 370 damage. And then Naughty Coin's able to take him out. This Freedom's backing off since he's all alone, so I'm just going to drive right into him. So long as he doesn't load up APCR, I'm pretty confident that he's not going to get a lot of damage on me. And as you can see, he bounces one right off my side. Again, the troll armor on the IS-6 is actually quite good. Try to put one into his side, at the very least tracking him, but that didn't happen. So go for the ram, trying to see if United Combat can get the kill shot on him, and he does. Unfortunately, I still shot one into him, so now I got to reload. Now, it looks like we lost the hill very badly. They had a massive force going up there, at least 5 tanks. So it's time for us to turn around, head them off from capping the flag. Excuse me. So like I said, a lot of the time, even tier or lower tier tanks will just, they'll either dump a lot of shots into you, especially while you're side scraping, and just bounce right off because of the really good side armor values when you're side scraping. or they'll just totally ignore you because they don't expect to be able to pen you. The side plates on this, they're not that thick. Like I said, they're about 100 millimeters, but they're sloped, and that's what causes so many troll bounces. You essentially have a large octagon of sloped plating on all sides of this tank, and it causes so much troll bounce. And it's just really funny. You can rack up a lot of steel walls with this tank if you play it right, and just avoid getting into 1-on-3 fights against Tiger 2s, IS-3s, and Object 416s. So rolling around the corner, I don't want to shoot the IS-3, as the Object 416 is a much bigger threat than the IS-3. He does way more DPM than the IS-3, and he probably has more cap points, which was confirmed when I shot him, and they lost a lot of cap points. So I want him gone. Put one more shot into the Object 416. He's trying to get around on my side, get some damaging shots on me, but I want him gone. He takes out somebody running away from the flag, but I'm able to put one more in his backside. Now I can turn and take on this IS-3, but he's already down to pretty much a one-shot. Thankfully, he's ignoring me. I look over, I see United Combat's okay against that medium tank, so I come back around, focus on the IS-3, and take him out for 100 damage. Artillery's right behind me. VK-4502 Alpha takes him out, so it's time for me to go help United Combat with this Centurion. Looks like he's doing a good job handling him himself, so I'm not too concerned about it, but I would like to get another damaging hit on this Centurion. He puts a hole into United Combat, so I'm just coming up on him, trying to take him out before he can get another damaging hit off. He drives right into the building, and I just, without even aiming, auto-lock, shoot him in the back, and he's gone. And the artillery tank I know is up on the hill. There's nothing else left, so it's time for us to close out the game. I'm just hoping I can get up there before we cap out in a minute here. Again, power to weight ratio on the IS-6, not that great. It takes a really long time to get up this hill. So when I do go up the hill, I'm usually late to the party on Himmelsdorf. But going down Heavy Tank Alley in this instance was really not a bad idea, as that 110 and the Freedom, and I didn't even notice what the other tank was that was with them. It died so quickly. Those three tanks would have had no resistance if myself, United, and Naughtycoin did not go down there. And I was able to block a little bit of damage for my teammates. They did pick on Naughtycoin quite a bit, hence why he is no longer with us in this game. But we were able to avenge him pretty quickly. So seeing I've got 15 seconds left, plenty of time. Coming over the hill, I see the 4043, 384, a very, very slight low roll. I have just enough time to get one more shot off, so I just tell to myself, don't frickin' miss, Mobius. And one more shot into the artillery for 16 points of damage. Takes him out of the game for my 4th kill, and securing us the victory.
Mission accomplished.
Not a bad game on Himmelsdorf. Excuse me. Not a heck of a lot of damage blocked, though. Usually, you can get a lot of damage blocked going down Heavy Tank Alley. Over 67,000 silver, and 2623 total damage dealt. Naughtycoin had a hell of a game doing over 4,000 damage in his Mutant 6, even though he was the one in our platoon that was killed really early. And poor Joe the Frogman down there with whopping 12 damage in his Type 64. So a pretty dang good game with the IS-6. As you can see, having a good game, you can absolutely make bank with this tank, which is a large reason that why people get a premium vehicle. And all of the Tier A vehicles can make you wicked amounts of silver if you have good games in them. You got to know what you're doing, and how to put out damage on other tanks, and that's essential with the IS-6 due to its really crappy gun handling and the overall poor penetration values of even the premium shells. You got to know where to shoot your enemies in order to make really good silver with this tank. So moving on to one more game here. Standard battle on Airfield War. Now, excuse me, this game will end up as a loss, but I managed to pull out quite a lot of damage out of my butthole. So even on a loss, you can make a lot of silver with this tank, especially if you get sniper medals, steel walls, and whatsoever. Now, I did say sniper medals, and I'm sure some of you are probably laughing at that, but it's a little ridiculous how often I get a friggin' sniper medal in the IS-6. But I'm going to simply attribute that to the fact that, using the gun rammer, the vents, and having brothers in arms on the crew to drop the reload to about 9.5 seconds so I can put more shots out more quickly. But I'm always on the front line. I'm always in people's faces. I'm never trying to snipe with this tank. You do see me do these ridiculous snapshots, as you've already seen me do it. But once the fight unfolds, I just go, "Hi, I would like to be friends with you," and get right in their faces so that it's nearly impossible for me to miss. I'm within 50 to 100 meters tops on the front lines, fighting it out with the other tanks. So it's a lot tougher to miss with the crappy accuracy on this thing when you're that close to a tank. Duffed both shots on the Chaffee there, so I said, screw him, somebody else can deal with him. Naughty Coin pulls up quite far, comes across a J-Panther 2 and a medium tank right behind him, so it's time to shine. A T-44 does have the big gun, so that's a little bit concerning, although I know it only has 175 pen. So putting a tracking shot on the J-Panther 2 so that Naughty Coin can blast him, and then I put one in the T-44 for 391 damage, and Naughty Coin puts one into him as well. T-44 got a big gun, got a long reload, so I know that this shouldn't be a problem. Put one more shot into him and try to track him again. Doesn't do the job. Naughty Coin puts a shot into him, and that's when somebody alerts us of this flanking KV-3. So I line up the shot, take it, 258 damage, takes him out of the game. One less heavy to deal with, so I pull forward. I see the T-44 is tracked one more time, so I just roll forward to give myself a wide berth, and I just put one right in his upper plate and knock him out of the game. Poor guy did 0 damage that game. Unfortunately for him, he took the longer reloading gun, which is a major hindrance when you're on the front line with only one TD backing you up in a T-44. So turning around, lots of people coming down the airstrip. AT-15 coming around. I try to track him. Not a good shot. Doesn't even do damage and doesn't even track him to make things worse. So trying to line up some shots on him once I get a reload. Lower plate is a no-go, so I try to put one right through the gun mantlet, and the shot goes true. Right above his gun, into the gun port for 378 damage. You can see the hole right in the middle. Pro tip, shoot AT-15s there, and do not shoot ISs or whatever that was in the upper front plate when they're angled that much. So these AT-15s have trouble penning me, as well as whatever that other TD is, the J-Panther. Both having some trouble penning me, so I'm just chuckling right now. Put one to the side of the IS there, kind of as payback for my really crappy shot on his upper plate earlier. And I know there's a Chaffee behind me dinging me, but I'm just ignoring him. This AT-15 is a bit more of a problem. I don't want to turn my back to him. Type 58 rolls up on me, trying to get up on my flank. T-29 behind me tracks me, and I know I'm in serious trouble at this point, as I am completely surrounded. So I can't really do much else but just aim in and put another shot on this AT-15. So once my track's repaired, just trying to pull forward and get the rock between me and the other tanks on my left, but they're coming up right on my grill. So I'm not going to have much chance here. Try to put one more on the AT-15, but I get taken out just before I pull the trigger. J-Panther 2 finally comes up behind me and just ends my game for me. So, pretty dang good game. Our team pulled it out here with the base capture. I can't believe I said we lost that. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong game. Sorry about that. Over 2,700 damage dealt. Just under 100,000 silver earned. That is a great haul for a Tier 8 premium tank. Like I said, that's what you play premium tanks for. You want to have fun in them, but you know, if you do well, you can just make bank. And it's a tank like this is largely the reason why I tend to have large silver reserves. So one final game here, platooned with Lele, Fiddler's Green, and Casual Pie again. Lele in the MT-25, Fiddler's Green in the Liberty, and Casual Pie, I believe, is again in the Mutant 6. And we got a standard battle here on Pearl River, and we are very top tier. There's not a lot of tier 8s this game. So this is a situation where the IS-6 can really shine, because you'll just be bullying, and I mean bullying, these lower tier tanks. About half their team is tier 8s, but the rest of them is 7s and 6s, so not really excuse me, not really a worrisome situation. Indian Panzer, IS-3, and the Borsig are my major concerns, as I know that they can fill me full of holes. T-69s, not so much. Super Pershing, not so much. So, kind of hoping to come across them as I come up into the middle here. Lele goes ahead and spots two of them, so at this point I just want to get in there, back him up, and prevent him from getting shot. And that's when I realized, oh wait, they're going under the bridge, way to the other side of the map there. So, Stupid me not being able to read the play. Engine Panzer blows right by us, so I just snapshot one right into his back. Big high roll, 465 damage, taking off a good chunk of his HP, so I'm hoping I can reload before he pulls away, but I realize that's not going to happen. He's trying to chase down Lele, so I don't fire at this ARL because I want a shot ready to go as soon as I round the corner here. So I line one up on the back of the engine, drop a shot into his rear. Unfortunately, Lele gets killed really early, so I was not really able to do my job with that one, unfortunately. And I decided not to chase him, as I figure Casual Pie is going to need some backup here. There might be more tanks coming up after that French heavy tank that he just took out. Fiddler's Green on the other side of the map there in the northeast corner. Got a big fight going on, so I know it's just me and Casual Pie pretty much. Rolling up in front, we come across the IS-3 and the T-28. Ignoring the T-28 because I know my really crappy pen is not going to have a hope in hell of denting him. He shoots me right in that hatch and takes out my driver, so I respond in kind by hurting that IS-3. And again, the IS-3 just punches a hole right through my front plate. So I'm just backing off, trying to get behind this rock so that the T-28 doesn't get another shot on me. IS-3 backs up and angles too much, so I get a nice shot into his side plate, and then my friendlies with me, Casual Pie and the ARL, are able to take him out. So that just leaves this T-28 right in front of us. So I pull up just enough that I can see his first hatch and start aiming in. Put a nice shot into the hatch on the T-28 for 405 damage. He starts pulling forward. He really, really, really doesn't like me right now, and he just puts one right through my front plate. And that's when I realized he's only got the 120 mil because he only did about 400 damage. He does not have the huge gun like I figured he might. So stupid me for not reading what's going on there. Now that leaves a T-28 prototype, also very toughly armored in the front. Difficult for me to pen. So I just sit here and I'm just proxy spotting him, hoping that artillery is looking our way. Maybe drop a shell on this T-28 proto, which would do massive damage. Now, there's still a lot of tanks unaccounted for. That's why I'm not pushing on this T-28 proto. Plus, he'd just punch a hole right through my front and kill me. So I want to stay in this game. So by staying behind this cliff, I'm protected from my artillery. I know that for a fact. And I'm just proxy spotting this T-28 proto. If our artillery decides to look over here and take a shot at him, he's proxy spotted, and it doesn't look like he has any intentions of going anywhere. So I'm just staying right here, rocking back and forth, trying to bait a shot or something, or just a stupid move on his part. And Casual Pie behind me, still sitting on the rock, also waiting for a stupid move on the opponent's part here. Now the northeast corner of the map, not looking so good. There's 4 tanks up there, and we've only got 3 of them. So ideally, we would want to turn around and go fight it out there. But I don't really have the option of brawling it out with that many tanks, as I am essentially one shot for most everything left in this game. So I just start backing up, trying to get out of proxy spot range for the T-28 Proto, trying to bait him forward to take a side shot from Casual Pie, which is exactly what happens. And the 28 Proto stops. Looks like he might be tracked. He might have stopped to try and line up a shot. I'm not sure. I don't want to risk it. So that's when we see artillery. Landed shell near the T-28 Proto. Not sure if he hit him. So in a minute here, I'm just going to pull forward and try and proxy spot him again. Looks like artillery missed. And he's still aiming right at me. So by proxy spotting him, I just pull back. Don't need him aiming at me. And that's when somebody spots the Borsig still sitting on their base. So at this point, I'm really thankful that I played it smart. Didn't push up and try and take up this T-28 Proto. Didn't get the bloodlust in my eyes. As that Borsig would have simply gone, "Hi, you're dead." So just chilling here, just waiting for my move. Casual Pie lands another hit on the T-28 Proto. Smacking him for a good 418 damage. Dropping him down to a nice one-shot here. So I'm still just pulling forward, proxy spotting. Really not doing anything exciting. Waiting for me to make my move. And artillery tries to land another hit on the T-28 Proto. Doesn't work out. And somebody tracks the 28 Proto from behind, allowing Casual Pie to pop out and finish him off once and for all. So that leaves their artillery and the Borsig. And we know the Borsig's on the base. Artillery can't be very far behind it. So I start loading HE rounds, since both the artillery and the Borsig can be vulnerable to it. Artillery gets taken out before I can get a shot on him. And trying to squeeze by these tanks here, I know I'm really vulnerable, so it's not looking so good. So I just auto-lock, fire a shot at the Borsig, and smack him for just under 500, at which point he takes me out of the game. And then our artillery responds in kind, immediately taking him out after I got taken out of the game. So that's it for game number 6 there. over 90,000 silver earned, 2,900 damage. Not bad at all. Very little damage blocked again, but a fair bit of assisted damage. Proxy spotting that T-28 Proto wasn't too bad. Wound up with the highest base XP on the team. Not a bad game at all. And again, just getting in people's faces with the IS-6. You know, essentially you just don't be afraid of people. Like I said, IS-3s, Tiger 2s, STA-1s, even Pershings could probably just fill you full of holes. But, you know, if you just get in people's faces, get your platoon to back you up, you will have a lot of fun with this tank. It is expensive. It is a $50 tank, essentially. But if you've got $50 burning a hole in your pocket, it's definitely worth it, especially if this tank is on discount. I really enjoy playing this tank. It does have its major drawbacks, but the troll armor combined with a pretty nice hard-hitting gun can make you overcome those, as well as the general fact that, you know, people just don't really know where to shoot this thing. The lower plate is just so troll. All that sloped armor on the upper hull is just so troll, and you can get quite a few steel walls, a lot of damage blocked, and just dish out plenty of damage with that nice hard-hitting gun, especially if you know where to shoot the enemies. Anyways, folks, that about wraps it up for the IS-6 tank talk. It was a long video. I did have 6 games, but I mean, when I record so many good games, it's really hard to pick just 3 and stick with them. I hope this review helps you decide whether or not you would like to buy an IS-6 in the future or not. As always, thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support. We'll see you next time. Have a great night. This is Mobius Y signing out.